Dun, 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 dun. Ah. Ah. Dun, dun, dun. Whatever happened to predictability? The milkman, the paperboy, evening TV. You miss your old familiar friends and waiting just around the bend. Everywhere you look, everywhere there's a heart, there's a heart I'm here to hold on to. Everywhere you look, everywhere there's a face of somebody who needs you. When you're lost out there and you're all alone, the line is waiting to carry you home. Everywhere you look. Dun, dun. Hello. This is a Fuller House experience. My name is Ryan.
My name is Craig.
And we're going to be analyzing and discussing and just kind of going through the continuation. It's not really a reboot. Continuation of the television show Full House. It's called Fuller House.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Netflix original, in quotes. Big quotes there. So, Craig, what is your experience with Full House? How do you know Full House? What's your relationship with the show?
Well, I grew up with it, and I fell in love because I was too young to understand what good content was.
Right.
So I loved the group hugs at the end of every episode.
Right. I think we all did. Yeah, I think we all learned a lot from this show. That if you're white, everything works out neatly at the end of a 22-minute part. So I'm just going to start with some Full House facts for you. Full House facts from the original Full House. It ran on ABC from 1987 to 1995. That's 8 seasons.
Wow.
8 seasons, 192 episodes. 8 seasons and 192 episodes the original Full House ran. That was created by Jeff Franklin. And there's actually been a long history of trying to continue it somehow.
Yeah, I didn't know
They've
this.
all basically revolved around John Stamos. John Stamos, who I thought would be too cool for Full House after it ended. 2008, he wanted to do a reunion movie and the cast was not interested.
Full length, like 2 hours?
Yeah.
Wow.
And the cast was very not interested. I don't blame them. They were already in, what did I say, 8 years? 8 years of Full House.
Yeah.
That'd be enough for me for a lifetime. Then 2009, Stamos again. He's back, baby. And he still wanted to do a movie, but he wanted Steve Carell to play Danny and Tracy Morgan to play Joey. That was his dream cast.
Wow.
And I guess he just stays as Uncle Jesse. I guess he doesn't recast himself. And then
I don't understand the appeal of that.
And then speaking of I don't understand the appeal, Jimmy Fallon has had Dave Coulier, John Stamos, and Bob Saget on a lot to reprise their roles as Danny, Joey, and Jesse. I don't understand it.
It felt like a direct correlation with this Netflix thing.
Yeah, it did.
I feel like it led directly to Netflix.
I think it did. I think you're right. I think their last appearance was in 2014, which is probably right before they started filming.
Decided.
So why are we doing this? Why do you think? Why do you think we're doing this podcast?
Well, it's our childhood.
No. Try again. Wrong.
Well, it's our current TV state, and we can't let shows be ruining Netflix, which is what this show would do.
Here's what I think. Full House sucked. The original sucked. It's a bad show. Not good. But I will say it has some sort of heart to it. You can at least see that they tried to do something with it. They tried to make it meaningful. It wasn't. Again, it sucks. The show sucks. Fuller House to me seems like a cynical cash-in. That's what I think. A cynical cash-in on nostalgia. That's me putting my fedora on, growing out my neck beard.
Well, this isn't new, too.
No.
Fuller House is not the first show to try and come back, cash in on nostalgia.
Exactly.
It's just one more addition to the trend.
And it's more Full House, and it's bound to suck probably more, and that will be fun. So we each came up with 10 predictions for what we thought we would see in this season of Full House. By the way, already renewed for season 2. So that's good.
We got another season of this to look forward to.
So I say we go back and forth. Craig, what is your first prediction for what we'll see in Fuller House Season 1?
Well, my first prediction was that there won't be a laugh track.
Wow.
Which was, I'm going to say it now, it was wrong.
So why did you think they wouldn't go with one?
Well, no one does a laugh track anymore.
They got the Bing Bong Theory.
That's true. I was about to say that was the one.
Right.
So I was thinking, Netflix. I don't think there has been a Netflix laugh track.
I can't think of one, no.
Yeah.
Unless that new Ashton Kutcher show does it too, but I haven't seen it.
Oh, there is a ton of new stuff that they're making I haven't seen.
Yeah. Okay, so that was your first prediction, and it was wrong.
It was dead wrong.
There is a laugh track, and it's pretty noticeably bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's not good. My first prediction, I think it was more of a hope than a prediction, was that Jesse and Becky would be separated or divorced. My reasoning for this is because Jesse is the worst husband in the entire history of television, I think. He sucks. He sucks as a husband. And I was really hoping Becky would realize it and say, you know what? I'm going to find someone who treats me well, Jesse. You just sit around, you don't do anything. I was wrong as well. They're very together, and we'll talk about that in the premiere episode. Okay, so Craig, what was your second prediction for this season of Fuller House?
Well, I thought they were going to keep insulting Kimmy, but they were going to be more scared about it than they were in the original series.
About it
because PC has become a thing, politically correct,
right?
And they were awful to Kimmy.
Yeah, I'm glad you picked up on that. That's something I wanted to talk about later. Because they are horrible people to Kimmy Gibbler.
Yeah.
So that's a prediction we'll have to come back to at the end and see. We'll have to decide whether they were more PC this time about it, because they were pretty bad. Bad the first time
around. It's still
around.
up in the air.
It's still up in the air. My second prediction is that a Beach Boy will make an appearance at some point during the season. For some reason, the Beach Boys have in a link to Full House that I guess it's because Jesse was the drummer in a Beach Boys music video back in the 80s.
Wow.
And for some reason, I guess they owe him for life for that, because they have been on Full House. I think they made 3 appearances on the original Full House.
Yeah, it's a little bizarre.
It's actually funny because Brian Wilson, he did a Reddit Ask Me Anything, and someone asked him, oh, what was it like being on Full House? And he straight up denied being on Full House, even though he's very visible during his appearance. I think that's funny. I think that's rad. I would do the same thing. I would just deny. When you've done so much in your life, I would also just deny that I was on Full House. Craig, what is your third prediction?
Well, I thought Joey was going to still be single.
Okay.
And they were going to mention it for like half a second. It would be really sad. And they wouldn't address it after that.
On.
Yeah, they would just never go back.
Joey is still loveless. But let's move on from this and talk about Jesse and Becky. That's a good prediction. There's still time for that. I don't think it happened in the first. They didn't mention his love life.
But it's definitely a problem.
Yeah, it's still up in the air. My third prediction is that this is an interesting one from the trailer. By the way, we made these predictions just after watching the trailer and nothing else. My prediction is that Steve, who was in the show, you saw him in the trailer, DJ's boyfriend from high school, Steve and Kimmy will kiss.
Wow.
I think circumstances will occur, and these two will share a kiss that might stir up some problems between Kimmy and DJ, Steve and DJ. It'll create an interesting plot.
It'll stir the pot.
Don't think it'll happen. I think that'd be too interesting and too complex for
that's true.
A Netflix sitcom, especially one that's a continuation of Full House. Craig, what is your fourth prediction?
I think Jesse's twins. I saw them for half a second in the trailer. I think they're going to be meaningless characters.
Right.
Because they never served a purpose in the original.
Right.
And they're going to be dragging everything down.
Yeah, the twins in the original were basically just Michelle had grown up, the Olsens had grown up. They weren't as cute anymore. They weren't babies anymore. So producers were like, well, let's add more babies. They added twins, these boy twins who were, they were babies, but they sucked. They were terrible. Right? Is that too insulting for babies? They weren't good.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
And they weren't that cute either. They just kind of they were just kind of a jump the shark moment, I think, for the original show, and a show that had many of those moments. That's a good prediction, though. I anticipate that it'll come true. My fourth prediction was that there will be no Olsen appearances. This was a big story before. Somehow, this was a big story before Fuller House started airing, that the Olsens would not appear. Who cares?
It's true. That's a good point.
But yeah, I don't think they will appear in the show. Bummer. What's your fifth?
My fifth was that there was going to be a weird combination of 3-camera style, like the original, and the new single camera style.
Oh, okay. So you think they would do something unique with the production?
They did it in the near the end of the original season.
Yeah.
I mean the original series.
Right.
I feel like they could bring it back this time.
That would be work, though.
Yeah.
That would require work.
Yeah.
And I don't think Jeff Franklin wants to do that.
That's a good point.
Did we see it in the first 3? They did a fridge cam.
Yeah, that was a little strange. There was the car moment.
It was, yeah, they did. Oh, we'll talk about the car moment. Yeah, I'm not sure. If we'll see. We'll see at the end if we count fridge cam or car cam, I guess. Let's see. My fifth is that there will be less than 5 black characters in the entire show. Now, I'm not just talking about black people in the background. I am talking about characters with speaking lines.
Okay.
There will be less than 5 the entire season.
Mm-hmm.
Full House, not known for being the most diverse show.
They mention that too.
They do mention it. There are a lot of weird self-aware moments that make me uncomfortable.
Yeah, a lot of fourth wall stuff.
A lot of fourth wall stuff, just because of how not subtle it is. We'll get to that again. Craig, what are we, 6th? What is your 6th prediction?
I think the sets are going to be horrible.
Okay.
Because it's going to be a mix of trying to look like the 90s stuff,
right,
but also trying to look new.
Right.
It's going to be very bizarre.
It's going to be a bad mix.
Yeah.
What did you think of the sets from the first 3 episodes?
I thought they were definitely good,
mm-hmm,
but they had the double scenes where they showed the original series, and it didn't look the same.
Yeah.
It was a little bizarre.
A little different. A little darker, it seemed.
Yeah.
It seemed just lighting-wise. I guess that has less to do with the sets than lighting, though. Next, my 6th is that Jesse will inexplicably be a successful musician with a record deal. This was wrong. I was wrong in this, and we'll explain why. Then number 7, Craig?
I think there's going to be a lot of very winded, sad 2000s references, trying to make up for lost time.
Boy, is that a good prediction. Because, as we'll discuss, very true.
Mm-hmm.
7, the dog Comet is mentioned. I put in parentheses, perhaps as having died in 1997. There kind of were.
Yeah.
In the original, in the first 3 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
They mentioned Comet Jr. They don't explicitly mention Comet yet, though. So I want a Comet reference.
It's sad to think about. It's been more than a dog's whole lifetime since.
Yeah, it's been a long time. It's been probably 2 dog lifetimes.
Yeah.
Craig, what is your 8th?
I think all of the characters that were children in the original are going to be totally different characters in the new one.
Really? Oh, okay. So
because they were cute before, and that was their thing.
Yeah.
Well, their thing was to be cute little kids.
Right.
So now they're going to be totally different people that it'll be weird.
So basically just rewriting new characters.
Exactly.
Okay. So you don't think they would carry any of the characteristics from the original?
Except for all the catchphrases.
Catchphrases. Yep.
Yeah.
Catchphrases.
That's the only thing they're going to keep.
Yeah. Well, we'll discuss the Full House 3 character trait thing that they do in this show. Number 8, Danny and Vicky. Do you know who Vicky is?
Was she in the new series?
No.
And just in the...
No, she has not been in the new series yet. Vicky was... I'm about to describe some Full House plot to you. After Becky had the twins, and Becky, she was the co-host with Danny Tanner on Wake Up San Francisco, and Vicky came in to fill in for her while she was on maternity leave, right? And so Danny and Vicky fall in love. She moves to Chicago at one point, so Danny starts growing a mustache, and because he's so sad, this is the later seasons when they didn't care as much. That's really saying something. And so Vicky, I believe Danny and Vicky get engaged the last episode. I think they reunite at least. And so the implication is, they're going to get married, and finally Danny is less lonely and his life is less sad. But my prediction was that Vicky is they're either divorced or she is dead.
That would make sense to have another wife die.
Right, because this family's cursed. Craig, what is your 9th prediction?
Well, it's very similar to that. there's going to be another death, and that's going to be the precursor to this.
Right.
Someone's spouse is going to die.
Right.
And that's going to be like
that leads to Fuller House.
Yeah, another
death leads to Full House.
Apparently.
That's a good prediction. Turns out to be true.
Yeah, worked out.
It worked out for us.
For me.
Ninth prediction for me is that Mr. Woodchuck will make an appearance. Mr. Woodchuck is the beaver puppet that Joey created in the original Full House. He sucks. He's the worst.
I don't know why he stayed around in the 90s.
I don't know. I predicted he'll be back, and I think I might have been right. Craig, what is your 10th and final prediction for season 1 of Fuller House?
I think in season 1 of Fuller House, the 3 adults, Joey, Jesse, Danny, are going to be acting like parents for the little kids' kids.
Okay.
So the babies are going to be like the older guy's parent,
Right. So you think they'll take a parenting role? Do you mean at some point or like throughout the entire series?
I think in the whole series, they're going to be the parents of the little kids.
Right.
While the middle ones go out and work or something.
Okay, yeah. Which came true. That came true in the 3rd episode.
It ended up, yeah.
My 10th is that all of the kids will suck. And
yes.
For this to be wrong, just one has to not suck. Basically, just one, when he or she comes on screen, I have to not sigh.
You're talking about the new characters?
The new kids.
Yep.
Yes,
yeah.
The new kids. Just one of them has to not suck for this to be wrong. I'm not confident that I will be wrong. I think I'll be right.
Okay.
They suck so far. So let's dive in to episode 1 of Fuller House. Episode 1 is called Our Very First Show Again.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. Because the original pilot was called Our Very First Show. They did this thing in season 1 of Full House where it was like Friends. You know how Friends, every episode's like the one with
a gimmick, yeah.
Right. They did that with Our Very First.
Oh.
So like Our Very First Vacation, or they dropped that quickly. I think after season 1.
That's
maybe
good.
partway into season 1, actually. So episode 1 starts off with the original intro, which was confusing to me, and then cuts to 29 years later. There's a pan of the Full House kitchen. There's some baby, and then Bob Saget shoots up from behind the counter. He seemed to just be hiding.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought he was playing a game with the kid.
Apparently, the kid didn't seem involved.
Yeah.
I think he was just hiding behind the counter.
They never explained that.
There's a huge ovation, big ovation for Bob Saget. He immediately insults Joey, who's not even there to defend himself, by saying he's going to give him the bread that fell on the floor. That was why he was on the floor.
Mm-hmm. And knowing his backstory as a very clean person, that's a bigger insult than most people.
That is a bigger insult. Coming from him, yeah, especially.
Mm-hmm.
Uncle Jesse comes downstairs. He gets oohs and ahs. He gets woo. I guess woos would be better. I wonder how Bob Saget feels about this, because he got no woos.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, so I just wonder what he thinks of that. Then Danny and Jesse, I don't know if you caught this, they share the most lustful smile I've ever seen. They exchange these lustful smiles that I wish I could describe accurately, but they smile so, it's not even lovingly, it's just like sexily at each other. It made me uncomfortable, but also made sense given the show.
Yeah, that's true.
So the baby is wearing an Elvis onesie, which is an introduction to one of Jesse's 3 character traits, which every character on Full House has only 3 traits. Jesse's are Elvis, his hair, and music. Those are Jesse's 3 traits. That's it. They had 8 seasons to expand on those, and they gave him a turtle once. Doesn't really count as a character trait.
That's less of a trait, more of a possession.
Yeah, it's not really. So yeah, the baby's wearing an Elvis onesie. The crowd loves it because Elvis is funny.
The crowd, I feel the crowd loved too much. The first 5 minutes,
crowd went crazy.
Every
crowd was in
few
heaven.
seconds.
Yeah, the crowd was in heaven. They whipped these people up, and they into a frenzy. They were loving it. Joey comes upstairs in full pajamas, and again, no woos. Wonder if Dave Coulier felt a little slighted by that. I think he probably gets it. So he's in full pajamas, of course. And I just want to point out that Dave Coulier looks like Jeff Daniels.
Interesting.
I've always thought that.
Wow. I feel like more so with time.
More so with time because their faces are melting. Joey does fucking Bullwinkle.
That's the first thing he says, right?
No, I think he says, "Oh, what's all this noise?" or something. He comes upstairs, he says something, and then someone says something. He does the Bullwinkle, which is by this point 20 years more irrelevant than it was in the 80s and the 90s, I guess, because he did it the entire series. Jesse laughs though, because he's given up. We've given up. Aunt Becky comes downstairs. Aunt Becky, I believe she was created to, I don't know. She doesn't really have any flaws as a character. That's fine considering the train wrecks of people that the other characters are. She's kind of, I don't know. Yeah, she has no real flaws.
That's true. Her just being around them makes them seem a little better.
Yeah, and I think she was created as an explanation for why the Full House hasn't burned down. Because Joey tried to cook like oven mitts or something. So she comes downstairs. She gets a big ovation, obviously. I was desperately hoping that she was coming downstairs from just having signed divorce papers. Nope, they...
would have been dark.
That would have been great, though, if she said, "Okay, all done. I'm going to go now." And Jesse's like, "All right, well, this divorce is final now. I'm sorry." But he wouldn't say I'm sorry.
No, that part would be crazy.
He wouldn't care. He sucks. But... alas, there's a sex joke between Jesse and Becky about her being exhausted from last night, is what she said. And he said something like, "Oh, I bet I know what that's from," or something. It's very on the nose.
Yeah.
And very gross.
A lot of on the nose jokes.
It's Full House, baby. It's Full House. Then they kiss. God damn it, they're still together.
That was it. That was the end.
That was my prediction.
The end of your hopes.
They're still together. She still hasn't left him. It's a bummer. Jesse points out that it's weird that Joey's 60 and still wearing Bugs Bunny pajamas. Yeah, it is weird. It is weird.
Yeah. That was the beginning of the self-aware.
Yes.
That would just not end.
But it was self-awareness just to keep going. It wasn't self-awareness to say like, "Oh, wasn't that stupid in the original Full House, but we're going to make it better." It was like, "Oh, isn't that stupid? Because we're going to keep going with that."
Mm-hmm. No shame.
Yeah, it was self-awareness for self-awareness' sake.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, Jesse, it is weird that he's still wearing Bugs Bunny pajamas. That's very weird.
You shouldn't laugh it off like they did.
And Joey's like, Joey said, I think he defended it by saying, "Oh, I'm 55-ish."
And they're new.
And yeah,
that
and
was
they're
it.
new. And they're new. DJ, the squarest character in television history, she enters. She is such a square.
Yeah, it hasn't changed.
No, it's gotten worse. She is the biggest square in TV history. I think her 3 character traits were smart, boring, and college. By the end, college became one of her character traits just because she wanted to go to Stanford. And guess what? She did. Because everything works out in the Full House universe for the Tanner family. So she works at a pet clinic now, which is interesting because they never mentioned her love of pets or animals.
Yep.
They never mentioned her training to be a veterinarian. That kind of came out of nowhere.
It did seem like every career path the younger people went on came out of nowhere.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. I guess they needed somewhere where she would have to have emergencies so that the other ones could take over.
That's interesting.
Why even bother though? It's Full House.
They probably weren't thinking that hard.
No. DJ reveals that Danny and Becky are moving to LA to host Wake Up USA because everything in this show has to be a rehash of something on Full House because they hosted Wake Up San Francisco.
Yeah. So of course it was a massive success.
So everybody loved it. Everybody loved waking up to Pop Saget's face. And they're hosting Wake Up USA now, nationally broadcast.
It's like that's probably the equivalent of Good Morning America.
Yeah,
like that's a big deal. It's a big
deal,
show,
and they got it. They nailed it. Great. It's so then they do the same. Becky and Danny do the same joke that they did in Full House, where they argue over whose name comes first. It's the same joke. Mm-hmm. They say, Wake Up USA with Danny Tanner and Rebecca Donaldson-Katsopoulos. And then she says, I think it would sound better if it was Wake Up USA with Rebecca Donaldson-Katsopoulos and Danny Tanner. And they have the same argument that they had an entire episode of the original Full House.
You could even hear the audience was getting tired of it.
Yeah, they're just like, next line. Jesse's also moving to LA. That's very convenient because he is the, quote, new music composer for my favorite soap opera, General Hospital. That is an exact quote.
This was in the very middle of when they were all randomly introducing their careers.
Yeah,
as
just
if
shouting.
as if they had never discussed it before.
Just shouting exposition. That's the best way to do it.
This was the day they were leaving. They were telling everyone around the breakfast table.
They're just revealing where they're going for the rest of their lives.
Like later today.
Yes, just as a reminder to their family members who they probably see every day, maybe every other day, what they're doing again. Of course, they have to tell the audience. Yeah. But there are better ways than just shouting it in the kitchen. Then Jesse walks over to the baby and he says, this is also an exact quote, "They always have the best actors on there, don't they?" Obviously, this is a reference to the fact that John Stamos was on General Hospital. Why would he? This line is weird. Why would he say this? He just said he's the new music composer. He didn't say he was an actor. And then he walks over to the baby and says, "They always have the best actors on there, don't they?"
That's true. I didn't think about that.
Why did nobody say, that was kind of weird to say. That was kind of a non sequitur. Jesse's the king of non sequiturs in this show.
Oh yeah.
He just says things
in the new episodes. Yeah.
Yeah. He just says things for the sake of being self aware. And if I were around him, I'd be like, "Dude, what? Are you okay? Are you okay?"
If you were in this universe.
Yeah, I'd be like, "You're saying a lot of things from out of nowhere."
Yeah. Well, you got to think he's basically the producer of everything, because he's been trying to push this for years.
Right.
Like he said.
Right. I guess that's an explanation.
He's just obsessed with Full House by now.
Yeah. Okay. So Stephanie, who I in my opinion is the worst character on the original Full House. She's all she existed by the time she was a teenager. All she was there for was just to stir shit up and to annoy people and to like set annoying plots into motion that have to do with pranks or basically she just became a nuisance because they couldn't figure out what to do with her character once she grew out of the cute stage and into the teenager stage. So she walks in. She's fresh from England, fresh from London, I believe. Someone asks, "Oh, where's Michelle?" And Danny says, "Michelle's." This is also an exact quote. "Michelle's busy running her fashion empire." And then all six of them look directly into the camera.
Silence, except for the audience cheering.
The crowd loses it.
It made it creepier.
The crowd loses it. And they do this for 10 seconds. They stare.
Yeah.
As just a fuck you for watching this show, basically. As just like, we know why you're here.
Oof.
You're stupid.
And it messed with the tone. Like, that was dark.
That was the point where I lost hope, honestly. That was the point where I lost hope. Because I was like, oh, this is just going to be like a self-reference fest.
That's what this is.
It's just going to be for people who are like, oh, wasn't that so cool how they like alluded to the fact that the Olsens aren't going to be on it? No. No, that's not cool. They look directly at the camera.
Oof.
That works on some shows. Not others.
Yeah, very few.
Saved by the Bell totally worked. Anyway.
That was the whole point of the show.
That was the whole show.
You gotta freeze.
Yeah. You can't just, in the first episode of a continuation, break the fourth wall that hard.
Yeah.
Anyway. Nikki and Alex. Oh, sorry. Joey. They explain. He shouts what he's doing. He's doing 10 shows a week at the Venetian. So I just imagine him in Las Vegas.
Yeah, what is he talking about?
With his hands on his head, talking in a Bullwinkle voice.
Yeah, like
and people going nuts for it.
He only references things he referenced in the original series. That means he hasn't made new material.
I've never seen his comedy, Dave Coulier's I'm talking about. I've never seen his comedies or his comedy. I can't imagine he does that. I guess
it's got to be just Joey.
It's probably just Joey, to be fair to Dave Coulier, but why didn't they have him do anything? I guess because they need him to be recognized. He's a hard character to write, to be fair, because he's so trapped in the 40s with his cartoon references.
That's true.
That it's hard to write that in 2015, 16. But still, 10 shows a week at the Venetian doing Bullwinkle impressions.
Busy guy.
It's a busy guy. I would love to go to the Venetian and, just explore that beautiful hotel and then go sit down and watch a 55-year-old do Popeye impressions.
Probably exhausted.
Spend a lot of money on that. That'd be great. Nikki and Alex come in. We've mentioned how useless they were on the original Full House. They come in.
Not much changed.
They said, this is another direct quote, the best part about college is that we got hella good surfing.
Then they do the surfing motion
the surfing
for
motion.
A while.
I don't know what surfing has to do with college. I guess maybe they take a class. I don't know. So then they all sit at the kitchen table for the last time.
Oof.
Maybe.
It's dark.
Jesse says, "Damn, we all still look good." And he's right. They do look good.
Yeah. Him especially.
He especially looks
That's
good.
definitely what he was trying to
Becky
talk
especially
about.
looks good.
Oh yeah, of course.
Bob Saget's having some issues.
Yeah.
Face-wise, voice-wise too. His voice is interesting in this. He doesn't seem like he doesn't feel like the same character.
Mm-mm.
To
Or
me,
the
at
same
least.
human being.
No. And do they not see each other often in this show?
You're talking about all of them?
The characters, because they're shouting exposition. They're saying, "Damn, we all still look good," but that's kind of another non sequitur from Jesse.
Yeah.
They never really explained if they don't see each other as much anymore, or
Because this is the last day.
It's
Like
the last
they're
day.
leaving later this day,
yes,
and they're talking like they just saw each other.
for the first time since the show ended.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just something I was wondering. Then Kimmy comes in. I think Kimmy's rad. I think Kimmy's the raddest character from the original Full House. She was very annoying to the Tanner family, which was endearing to me. They were very, very, we've talked about this, cruel almost to Kimmy. If you look at her character, she comes from neglectful parents, obviously just wants to escape from her home. I'm really diving into the psychology of Full House. But we have to for Kimmy. She's a sad character.
Yeah.
And DJ's her only friend, and they make points to say that. And the Tanner family is ruthless.
Yeah.
to
All
her.
these nice people.
Yeah,
horrible
seemingly nice
people to
Very. There's one line Stephanie says in the original. Kimmy says, "Oh, I have to go check my horoscope," and Stephanie says, "Oh, is that?" I think she says, "Is that a telescope pointed at your face?"
Wow.
Calling her a whore.
Yeah.
Stark. Tanner family no good to Kimmy. So she comes in, she sees everyone at the table, and says, "Quote, I feel like I'm having an acid flashback." Who is this show for? Who is the audience for this show? It's not children.
Yeah. Well, we were a little young. A lot of the audience are like late 20s now.
Right.
I think that's who they were aiming this at.
I think so. I think you're right. But I think any hopes that this was for a children's audience, I think that line erased. Also the sex joke.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff.
But so Kimmy has dropped acid. They've revealed that about her. Maybe that will become one of her traits.
No, she said she didn't.
Oh.
She said, "Oh, I dropped antacid. It must be an
You're
antacid
right.
trip."
You're right.
So it was a weird kind of like
man.
a little politically correct, but also weird they even brought it up.
Right. They at least wanted to make an acid joke, I guess, because
Yeah.
it's the 1960s. She shouts, "I'm an event planner now." So that's another good exposition
It just
shout.
keeps going, more exposition.
It's good. That's good writing. Stephanie, who's, by the way, she's speaking with an English accent at this point.
Yeah.
She says she's a DJ under the name DJ Tanner.
Uh,
Did you laugh?
I was shocked that they hadn't mentioned that in the 8 seasons they've done. They
That
never
she-
said a
yeah.
DJ joke.
Right. They might have. But I think you're right. I can't think of any. None that come to the
But then
top
like
of my
this
head.
was such an easy one.
Very,
I
yeah.
feel like if they had done it, they shouldn't have this time.
They should not have. No, they should not have.
For a lot of reasons.
DJ, the real DJ, gets mad at that.
So this is her like professional
Her
name.
stage, yeah, I guess stage. Her stage name.
Yeah, so
as
she's
a
DJ Tanner.
Is DJ Tanner, which
Okay.
it's funny because it's her sister's name. 2 kids come down. I have no idea who they are. The youngest kid calls DJ out for being a massive square, so I like him at first. Then because Stephanie gives the kid music, and DJ's like, "Oh, is there any swearing on this?" And she takes him back, and then here we go. The kid says, "Relax, mom." This is a quote. "Relax, mom. I already know the bad words: darn, booger, and Donald Trump."
Ooh.
DJ shrugs. The audience loses it. First thing, how are darn and booger bad words?
Yeah, like they worked a lot on the Donald Trump part.
Right.
I don't think they thought that much about the first 2.
They went with darn and booger.
Because they said the acid joke.
Right. Darn. I guess the punchline was just focused on Donald Trump.
Yeah, they were just too focused on the punchline.
So that kind of speaks to one of your predictions, that they would just make 2000s references.
Mhm.
And there's one Donald Trump joke. First episode of Fuller House.
Yep.
Very good. They start reminiscing about the house now that Danny's selling it. There's a Kimmy stinky feet reference. She takes off her shoe and puts her foot on the table. This is followed immediately by Stephanie saying, "How rude."
How rude.
Catchphrase.
Catchphrases come back.
Catchphrases are back.
Started with Bullwinkle. Haven't stopped since.
Yep. So then that causes Stephanie to lose her English accent.
Oh yeah,
Awesome. That's a great payoff.
Yeah.
So Kimmy says, once again, my feet saved the day because they stopped her accent. And
at least she acknowledged the accent was annoying.
Right. And then the kid says, yeah, but they smell like Trump.
I didn't realize they didn't waste any time between the two Trump jokes.
I think it was 30 seconds. I guess that's a shtick now. His shtick is just forcing in Donald Trump references.
I hope he keeps going.
Jokes. If he kept that going, if it's episode 12 and he's still making Trump jokes, then he'll be a great character. Alas, I don't think that'll happen.
One of his 3 traits.
Yeah, one of his 3 traits is Donald Trump jokes. And the new theme song kicks in. It sucks. The new theme song sucks. Nothing against Carly Rae Jepsen, and I'm not saying the original is a masterpiece. It's not. I didn't like it. What did you think of the theme song?
It wasn't anything special.
No, I didn't expect it to be, but it's fine. It's fine for this new Full House. Who cares?
The one thing I picked up though was for the new characters. For all the old characters, they had footage from the original.
Right.
For the new characters, they had like baby photos from their personal lives.
Yeah, I did notice that.
It was very strange.
That's interesting. So yeah, there's the weird thing with the old cast members, as you mentioned, they have them like reenact old intros, and it just shows how much they've aged. A lot of them. Yeah. They still don't look bad again though.
Except Jesse looks better.
You think so?
I think when he was playing guitar in both of them, he looks better in the new one.
Really? You're into new John Stamos, huh?
He looks good.
I don't know. Watch the Beach Boys Forever video from the 80s and see if
they brought that back too.
See if you still agree. Oh yeah, we'll get there. So this is written by Jeff Franklin. I saw that in the credits.
The original guy.
We're in for a treat because he's great. So it's revealed that DJ's husband died fighting fires. This family's cursed. If you marry into the Tanner family, there is a 75% chance you will die early.
Well, yeah, 1 out of all the cast members for each reboot.
Yeah. There's a very strong chance that you'll die. This poor family, all they want to do is love and marry, and they're punished for it. It's a shame. So it's established that Steph likes to have no strings and no responsibilities. That's okay. That's interesting. Jodie Sweetin is a giant, by the way. Stephanie, the actress who plays Stephanie, she towers over the other cast members.
I didn't think about that.
She's huge. Yeah. Good for her.
The younger sister.
Yeah, good for her.
Now the youngest sister.
Yeah, because Michelle's running her fashion empire.
She's gone.
In New York. So the two reference past episodes, DJ and Stephanie. They reference past episodes. The 3 men barge right in because the curtain rips, and they barge in immediately. They said, "What's going on in here?"
It didn't seem like they even knew the curtain was ripped.
No, they just boom. They came right in.
Yeah, they barged in.
They must have been listening outside. Maybe they were waiting for someone to yell action. Jesse says, "All right, girls, we've decided to have mercy."
It was disturbing because the original connotation, it's sexual. It's sexual, weird. Yes. It's very weird.
So he says that to his nieces. He says, "Have mercy." Bam! Mr. Woodchuck appearance. Prediction correct. Mr. Woodchuck makes an appearance in the first episode of Fuller House. Joey brings him in to calm Tommy down. Tommy's the baby. The baby starts crying, and Joey starts laughing. I thought that was funny.
Yeah, it was disturbing. He was getting some kind of thrill out of it.
Right. Yeah, he was loving it. Party scene downstairs. A woman approaches Danny, says, "There's the sexiest man alive," and they kiss. That was unnerving.
Yeah, it was very weird.
That was shocking.
And Danny even said so.
Yeah.
We're surrounded by
my
kids.
By my family.
And their kids.
She did not care. She just starts kissing him. No, so that's not Vicky. That is not Vicky. It's a younger woman. That might be her only appearance in the series. Who knows?
Yeah, because
I'd be surprised if she came back, honestly.
That was another heartbreaking thing. I started to realize about this moment in the first episode. They're gone. After the first episode.
Yeah, they're getting out of there.
They're leaving.
They're going to LA.
Getting their chick, and they're,
Yep. Then he says, "Ugh, I love when you talk clean to me." That's one of Danny's 3 traits. He likes clean. I don't even know what his other 2 are. I think square might be one of them.
Yeah.
So then.
He's like sentimental.
Yeah, and
That's one of
hugging.
his traits.
Hugging.
Yeah,
Clean,
yeah.
hugging, and like sentimental. I think those would be his 3.
Yeah.
Then the kid, the youngest kid, not the middle kid, I guess. Max, the Trump one.
Yeah.
He
Besides
comes down.
Tommy's the youngest.
There's a spill or something. It's revealed he's also a clean freak like Danny. Danny gets a little stiff about it, and they start cleaning together.
Yeah.
Fernando enters. He's Kimmy's ex-husband, soon-to-be ex-husband. He starts talking about how Kimmy is a sex goddess.
Kama Sutra.
Right.
Something about that.
Right. And the uncles seem weirdly interested in this. They're like, that Kimmy Gibbler?
Yeah. Joey did it first. And
Yeah.
he did a thing I noticed where he starts like inching over to the people
Right.
when he knows there's a joke coming.
Right.
And then he just delivers it.
He just slam dunk. A good joke.
And that was it. He's like, this Kimmy Gibbler?
Yeah. Kimmy has a daughter named Ramona with Fernando. So
she's part of it.
They start playing New Kids on the Block, and everybody starts dancing. They play this song for 15 seconds. So I guess DJ Tanner, Stephanie, edited a 15-second version, and then they played it, and that was it.
Like
And
it
they
starts, and there's like a clean ending that they created.
Right.
They didn't just press pause.
No, I mean, again, it's a show, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's not.
Cut away or something.
Yeah.
Took me out of it.
Me too, actually.
Steve comes in. Steve, one of the more tolerable characters on Full House, probably just because he didn't appear as much as the others.
Yeah. Became Aladdin.
Yeah.
Fun fact.
Yes. Aladdin's voice.
Yeah.
He comes in. He says free food. It's one of his traits is that he likes eating food. He makes a reference to Comet Jr., not an explicit reference to Comet.
Kari's in Comet Jr.
Right.
Ready to give birth to Comet Jr.
That's a joke they make. Steve says this is weird. Steve says when DJ's ready. I think her husband must have not have died long ago.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna mention.
Yeah, go ahead.
They don't talk about the death after they say the firefighter line.
Right.
And like he says she's single.
Right.
So he knows about it. But he
knows,
doesn't say I'm sorry for your loss.
He knows her husband died a fiery death, and he all he cares about. He says once you're ready, basically to bang again, I'll be right here. That puts a lot of pressure on DJ.
Yeah.
To say, okay, my husband just died.
She's a widow.
She's a widow, and Steve's just. It was meant to be nice, and the audience even went awe.
Yeah.
It was weird. That wasn't an awe-worthy moment.
Mm-mm.
That was a strange thing from Steve.
Yeah.
Put a lot of pressure on his high school girlfriend. Anyway, but again, audience loved it.
That's true.
I guess it's sweet.
They both had lives since then.
Yeah.
And he had a divorce, and he's happy that he divorced. Like he said something about losing half his money
and his hair.
Yes.
Yeah, but I guess he's fine with that. DJ's son Jackson, and Ramona. Jackson's the oldest son.
Okay, now I'm getting it.
And it seems like DJ and Kimmy want them to hook up, and it was weird.
Yeah, it was something about that.
I didn't like it. They were just trying to get them to talk. I guess they wanted them to be friends, but I don't know.
A little foreshadowing to the fact that they're gonna
end up together.
Yeah,
just
live
like
together.
DJ and Steve are gonna end up together.
Yeah.
DJ says, "I hope you're leaving." To a random group of old men. Did you see that?
I was wondering who they were.
They didn't
mention
it.
Are they the Rippers?
They're the Rippers. They're the Rippers, but they didn't mention it. She just said, "I hope you're leaving too," and then they laughed.
Yeah, they're used to it.
And then the magical moment. What does Jesse sing? Forever. He sings "Forever" by the Beach Boys.
I've been singing this song forever.
Yeah, he says that line. If you haven't seen the music video that they did for Forever from the original Full House, boy, you go back and watch it. Jesse naked with his babies, candles in a church. It's beautiful. It's great. I don't know if John Stamos sung this live on set. I don't think
he
he did. No.
It sounded. I mean, they did this in the original series.
Yeah.
Very weird lip syncing.
Right.
They did it again.
Yeah, they did it again. Pretty noticeable this time. Everyone sings in perfect harmony.
Oh yeah, it was like a chorus.
It was beautiful.
Yeah,
it was
a whole
great.
choir. Like they knew the exact harmony to sing.
Yeah. Yep. They must have practiced. I guess they did. Danny does "Wild Thing" then, which is another reference to the original Full House, because you can't go a scene without referencing the original Full House at least 6 times. There's a worthless scene between Max, Jackson, and Ramona. I don't even remember what happened. Steve's a podiatrist.
Oh yeah, they threw that in there.
Yeah, he's like, I think she said, "Oh, you're a podiatrist."
Yeah, pretty much.
He got married, as you mentioned. He got married first. Lost half of my money and hair. Really sad.
Yeah.
But they just laugh it off.
So it looks real. It looks like that's a real problem the actor's going through.
Steve is really laying it on thick with DJ, saying, "Oh, once you're over your dead husband, come. I'll be right here." Yeah. He's really laying it on thick, and DJ starts to realize how much her life is gonna suck when the adults leave. The adults, I guess, the older adults.
Yeah.
Danny and Kimmy hug. Danny reluctantly hugs Kimmy. I'm skipping around a little bit.
Yeah.
Danny and Kimmy hug. That's nice, I guess. That's fine.
Because that was one of his traits.
Yes,
he was the guy to hug.
But he also hates Kimmy.
Yeah.
He's like the ringleader of the Kimmy hate group, basically. They hug though, so that's good.
She doesn't like it.
Nope. No, she loves it. He doesn't like it.
No, she says, well, that was anticlimactic.
Oh, yeah.
They both hated it.
It was bad. Yeah.
It was bizarre.
Yeah. Awesome scene. Cathartic. Ramona comes in. Steve brings in Comet Jr., saying she's in labor. So I guess he just left the dog in the car.
Yeah, he came back real fast.
Yeah.
He didn't go home.
Maybe it was a later scene.
Oh, yeah. They've cut time.
So Max says, Comet Jr. is having babies. This is better than Shark Week.
There we go. Another one of my predictions coming true.
Already my least favorite character.
Yeah.
Is Max.
He's the one doing all these weird references.
It's the same Trump. It's a Trump.
Trump and Shark Week.
This is better than Shark Week, he says. Okay. The dog has puppies outside. It's helpful that DJ's a vet. Kimmy and Stephanie want to help, but DJ won't let them. She's being stubborn. She's saying, no, it's my responsibility. I can do it, which is in line with DJ's character. She's very into responsibilities. Jesse waltzes downstairs with a little bag, and Becky is carrying 3 large bags, that's very in line. That's a perfect microcosm of their marriage. Becky doing all the work, and Jesse doing none of it, and making quips.
Eat some chicken,
yeah. Perfect representation of their marriage. Joey says, cut it out. Audience claps.
And they use the worst joke to say cut it out to.
I don't remember. What was it?
I didn't write it down, but it was Jesse just saying some quick quip to him.
Right.
And then I think they pasted out like, oh, this is where we need to put another catchphrase.
Yeah.
And it was the worst joke of the whole episode.
Doesn't surprise me. Okay, Becky asks Jesse to have another baby, and Jesse says, quote, that ship has sailed. In fact, it's sunk. All seamen lost. So I guess Becky forgot that Jesse had a vasectomy. It's kind of a shitty thing to forget, Becky.
Yeah. It was a weird way for him to say it, though.
Yeah.
Everyone was disappointed.
Yeah. It would have been in line with the show for him to shout, I had a vasectomy.
That's true. At least they're a little tasteful with it.
Yeah, at least they try to be subtle by saying all semen lost. DJ attends to Tommy, who's the baby. Everyone hears her crying through the baby monitor. It's pretty embarrassing for DJ. She's saying, oh, I can't do it. It's hard. So everybody's listening to this. She comes downstairs, DJ does, and Danny, Becky, and Joey say they're not going to go to LA and they're going to stay and help.
Very quickly deciding to...
Yep, very quickly deciding...
And a huge career move.
Yes. Yeah, all of them have great jobs lined up. No, they're going to call it off. I get it. Nice thought.
Made me feel good.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, wait, maybe they are coming back.
Yeah.
It's not going to be just an empty DJ Steph show.
And the new kids, yeah. But alas, Kimmy does the same. Danny says Stephanie says no, I'm gonna stay. You guys go.
Which was supposed to be a heartwarming moment,
but it just seemed
broke my heart.
Yeah, right. The only likable characters are gone.
Yep. Thanks to her.
So Danny says he's taking the house off the market, and I guess he's just giving it to DJ.
But you gotta wonder how much extra money he has.
They do mention that though. They mentioned that. Do you know how much this house is worth today? Okay. And he's like, I don't care. But San Francisco's expensive.
And he's moving to LA.
How
much extra money does this guy have?
Yeah.
I mean, he's got the new show, I guess.
Yeah, he's got the Wake Up USA. I don't buy that Danny Tanner's a celebrity in this universe, by the way.
A huge celebrity. Like Matt Lauer.
Yeah. He's Matt Lauer.
Yeah, the equivalent.
I can't imagine that. They call the kids in. Max gets a puppy because he wanted a puppy, so he got it.
Yeah.
The baby starts crying, and they
recreate exactly a scene from the original pilot.
And they don't just recreate it; they show the original.
They do it
right next to
side
it.
by side. And they do the exact same way. Like, they say the same things, like, "Oh, kids join in at the same time." Why?
It's very weird.
It made me uncomfortable.
Like,
they sing the Flintstones theme song, by the way. So they do a split screen. It's much more lifeless this time.
Mm-hmm.
If you just look at the original, they're like, oh, they're young and they're full of energy and they're ready for their big careers in Hollywood. I'm talking about the actors.
Yeah.
And now, with the realization that Full House was the peak of their careers.
Yeah. They're looking back on that scene. It's like, oh, this was the beginning of the end.
Yeah. The old people leave. Then everyone starts singing the Flintstones theme again, and the episode ends.
Yes.
So, what's your biggest takeaway from the first episode of Fuller House? Would you say?
Well, I think the biggest thing is that they were trying as hard as they could to fit all of the characters leaving into one episode.
Right.
So now by episode 2, they're all gone.
Right.
And they have this whole new cast.
They could have had Joey stay for an episode, but no, they just all left. They all had to leave the same day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing in this episode surprised me except for the just having the one kid, Max, with all the references to Trump and Shark Week, and having also Jesse just say the most random things and everybody be cool with it, I guess.
Yeah.
So that was episode 1 of Fuller House.
Ask the skies what we have. Ooh, it